Hi everyone, GWFawkes here. This is the Model Gaming Show live. It is March 22nd, 2018, and a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's get right into it with new releases. Releasing this week on the 20th, so 2 days ago, we had Sea of Thieves and Attack on Titan 2. Attack on Titan 2 is getting about 76% on OpenCritic, and Sea of Thieves unfortunately is only getting 64. I've watched a lot of Sea of Thieves. I can't really speak on Attack on Titan. It looks very fun, and I'm sure I'll eventually get around to playing it once I get a PS4. But Sea of Thieves I was really looking forward to. It does look like a game that you need to play with a crew, and that's a lot of what I'm reading on the reviews, is that this should have been almost like an early access game where there's not that much content that you can get through and play for, 10, 12 hours, but it's kind of bare bones, that it should have been released for like $20. And as they add content, maybe they release an update and expansion or something like that. But basically all the reviews that I'm reading are that it's bare bones, and that's not good. From what I saw, I thought there was going to be more depth to it, but the combat just looks okay. It looks mediocre. For a long period of time. I'm sure it's really fun with friends and you get 4 people to go around and crew up, but beyond that, there doesn't seem to be much to the game. I hope they support it for years to come and it gets better. Releasing tomorrow on Friday, we've got Ni no Kuni 2 and A Way Out. So Ni no Kuni is from the developers of, oh my gosh, this Studio Ghibli. They created like a video game side studio, and they did the first one, which everyone loved, warts and all. So it was, I think it got around 80. I can't remember. Low 80s, but everyone liked it. The story is great. The visuals are great, and this one is supposed to improve upon that. It's at an 88 right now, which is incredible. I'm really excited for it. There are so many games on PS4 that I want to play. I've just got this back catalog of games that are on the PlayStation 4 that I want to play, and that's been high on my list. And now that it's coming out and getting great reviews, it just looks, and it's only supposed to be about 30 hours to get through the main story, which is awesome. One of the games that I'm probably going to skip is Persona 5, because everyone's saying it takes like 80 hours to complete. That's a lot of hours. 30 hours for a great story with involving characters, that seems right up my alley. A Way Out looks really cool. It's a game you must play cooperatively, which is awesome, and they give you a free game code to share with someone else. So you buy the game and it's discounted. I think it's only $40 anyways, and then you get a game code to get one of your friends, either co-op online or sitting next to you, obviously, if you want, to play with you. Realistically, I'd love to play this sitting next to someone at my place, but that's probably not going to happen. So I'm going to try and get my buddy Corey to get it for his system, and hopefully we can get a stream going of that. So with the releases out of the way, that's sitting at a 79 right now. It's hovering about an 8 out of 10. That's what I've read, is that it's cool. It's like 6-hour story and it's worth it. That's like 2 sittings for me, which is great. And that seems like a very cool experience that it must be played co-op. So I really dig that. So not too many big stories this week, but a lot of small ones. So the first one I want to talk about is PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds released their mobile version. And from what I could find and read online of people that have actually played it, it's good, but it's not anything compared to the PC version or even the Xbox version. So the PC version has always been pretty buggy and still has problems, but it's a lot better now. When the Xbox version released, it was very buggy, and they've fixed a lot of it, but it's still buggy. And this one came out and it's just as buggy as the Xbox launch was, and really it's not optimized for phones. I don't know how Fortnite is going to be, or if it's good or not, but that seems more in tune for really optimized. I mean, Epic just released this huge patch that didn't know, like, very limited updates for it, and increased the graphical fidelity and made it smoother and added new stuff. So that graphical style and that coding seems to work better. But PUBG, the only review I read gave it like a 5 out of 10 and said, this isn't the version that you want. It's cool that you can play it on your phone, but it's not optimized for it. Another big video game news topic is Vivendi backs out of their hostile takeover of Ubisoft. And Ubisoft was able to secure funding from Tencent, which it created a deal that it can't buy any more stock for 5 years. And it got some other Canadian businesses to help out, purchase stock. And Vivendi has backed off now, and they've signed an agreement that they cannot attempt to do that for another 5 years, which is interesting. I'm interested to see if Vivendi will try something like that again. You never want a hostile takeover. For those of you who are hearing this for the first time, basically a hostile takeover is one company attempting to buy another through stocks and without the other's consent. That usually when you do it, there's an agreement, there's a compromise, you're for sale. But if a company has the ability to, they can come in and buy it if it's publicly traded and do whatever they want, and that's not something Ubisoft wanted. So Ubisoft did everything in its power, or Ubisoft, whatever, Ubisoft, did everything in its power to get back control and stop Vivendi from doing it. It made it as hard as possible for them to do that. So it worked, seemingly, right? It seemed to work. And that's kind of what you want out of this situation, is you don't want a hostile takeover, especially with companies these big. And listen, Ubisoft does some dumb shit. Okay, let's be real. They pull just as many things as EA and Take-Two and all these other guys, okay? Don't trust for a second that they're not a corporation. But they do release things and do things every once in a while that's like a spur of creativity, right? I love the South Park, the Stick of Truth, and I'm really looking forward to playing the Fractured Butthole. And on top of that, they've got other great games that a lot of people seem to enjoy. Maybe they're not the best creatively, artistically, but I mean, hell, they've got Rayman, and they get a free pass for me. I love the Rayman series and the Rayman games, and if they just pumped one of those out every 3 to 4 years, I'd be happy. So that's good news that Vivendi can't purchase them. Vivendi really hasn't had much luck in video games anyway, so I don't know why they tried again. They clearly don't know what they're doing. Next news, and it's sad news, and I almost thought of making this a big topic, but it's not directly game related, but I have a lot of fond memories of it. Toys R Us is bankrupt, and the last of the 177 stores that are remaining open are basically doing their fire sale starting tomorrow through, I think, June or July, just trying to sell everything off. Much like Circuit City, they do have insurance, so you're not going to get stuff for half off or 180% off or something like that. But things will be discounted to try and sell. And I have a lot of fond memories of Toys R Us. I used to go there when I was a kid, and there was one by where I grew up in the local mall, and it's still there, and I'm guessing it just closed too. I haven't been back to check it out, but I was there probably once a month growing up, always checking in there. That's where my mom took me to get toys and video games too when they started doing that. And you could go play video game demos and whatnot. As I got a little bit older, it faded, but a big part of my childhood was spent at Toys R Us for games and toys. And granted, they've been in trouble for several years. This really shouldn't be a shock for how big they were and how, I mean, they've been in debt for quite a while, and it's not like an insubstantial amount. I think it's billions of dollars in debt, which is insane. But it's a natural process that has come to an end, unfortunately. And even sadder news today, the creator of Toys R Us, who decided to put the backwards R and created Jeffrey the Giraffe, their mascot, passed away today, a week after they announced bankruptcy. He was 94 years old. It's really sad, and yeah, Toys R Us was just a big part, and it's crazy. I don't have kids. I don't know if I ever will, but it'll be really interesting when they grow up for me to tell them, yeah, there used to be this store that I used to go to buy toys and like have a good time, and that really doesn't exist now without Toys R Us. It's I don't know, it's sad. It's just like it's a sad time for retail stores. So getting into the final topic of discussion tonight, Sega just announced they are releasing the Sega Genesis Collection for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. It releases in May, I think May 29th, end of May, and it's 50 games, and they're going to have new features. Apparently, the rumor is they're going to have online, but who knows in what games. That seems a little far-fetched. They're going to be up-res, 1080, but the coolest feature, which they just did with the DuckTales remasters, the Disney remaster, which I really like, is the rewind feature. They had it in Mega Man Legacy 1 collection, not rewind feature in Mega Man Legacy 1, but it basically allows you to do what Forza has been doing since it started, is you make a mistake and you can just rewind and replay, which I really like. So instead of lives, you just rewind it. Really great feature. 50 games is a great value, and if you look at the games on there, it's their greatest hits, essentially. You even get a couple of Sonic games, which is surprising, something I'll get into later, but you got the Golden Axe series, Streets of Rage series, Phantasy Star Online series, Altered Beast. There's so many cool games on there that 50 of them, that's a great deal. That's a really good deal, and so many of those games are really going to be cool co-op. So if there is an online feature, that's going to be awesome to go and play like Streets of Rage or Golden Axe with your friends online. That could be really cool. I'll probably end up buying that, and that along with the Rare Replay. That's so many awesome games that they've done for these newer systems, and especially the Xbox has the Rare Replay, which is 34 games, I think. So you have 54 old school games from different generations that you can play, and that's really special. And that shouldn't be taken for granted, especially now you're playing them in their best capability of the up-resed and added features. That's really cool. At least it is to me. And finally, bouncing off that Sega Genesis collection, they're releasing Sonic Mania Plus. I think in May as well, or coming soon. I can't remember if they did announce the release date, but it's going to be Sonic Mania plus 2 additional characters that are from like a comic or some obscure TV show that they did. And it's also going to include Sonic 1, 2, 3, Knuckles, and CD remastered, which is awesome. I'm confused on the wording of that. It sounds like that's what Mania is, but it sounds like those games are thrown in, and it makes sense because they're only putting Sonic, I think, 1 and 2 on the Genesis collection, and so it doesn't make sense for them to not include 3 and Knuckles and CD on the Genesis, well, not CD, but Genesis collection, and so I think that's what they're doing with this Sonic Mania Plus. And that's going to be the Ultimate Edition, I think. It's coming out for consoles, no word of a PC release, though, which is kind of disappointing, honestly. I'm playing a lot more games on PC, but ideally, I think the biggest seller has been on the Switch. I think it's perfect for that, holding it in your hands, and getting that on the go. You can play a few levels and knock it out. I think that's what I'll eventually buy it for, to be honest. Or I'll probably buy it on PC and Switch, who knows. But that's going to do it for tonight. Next week is going to be on Wednesday, and then the following week I'm moving, so I'll try and get it up on Thursday. But thank you all for watching. You can find me here Mondays and Thursday nights, 7:30 p.m. And hopefully starting in April and May, I will be every night, Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, playing games. This show will always be Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Twitch.tv/Model Gaming Show. You can find me at GWFawkes on Instagram and Twitter. Reach out to me, hit me up, and let's talk about video games. All right, thanks everyone. Have a great night.